Have you noticed that most people struggle to manifest that much at all? Maybe you are even included in this camp where you just struggle to manifest the bigger things or the bigger wins, and maybe it's little things here and there, but not much that's gonna really change your life for the positive. Now, there can be some other factors involved, like for example, the person just not taking action. But for most people, the reason why they don't manifest that much, even when they think they're doing all the correct things, even when they're listening to the manifestation advice and all that, is because most of us don't have the actual formula, and more importantly, the formula in the right order that allows for really big manifestations to continue to grow over time. So you kind of have this manifestation, then a bigger one, then a bigger one, and you're using that power of momentum. And make no mistake, unfortunately, this information has been suppressed through the ages, and in more recent times, it's not been suppressed, but it's been given out of order, or little pieces of the puzzle have been taken out so that you can't use it effectively or at its full power. Now, it's important in my eyes to not feel victimized by this fact, because the idea of this channel isn't to really create victims or people to victimize themselves over the fact that there's been information that's being suppressed or meddled with so that you don't know the order or all these different things. That's not the point. The point is to simply have that awareness, to know that these things exist, and then to use the correct information, the correct knowledge, the correct wisdom applied in your life to actually start getting results. We can get all up in arms that this stuff was suppressed or whatever else it is, but that doesn't help you, that doesn't help me. What's going to help us is to start taking more responsibility for our own lives, to find the real information, and then to implement that information in order to get results in our lives. And so this video is all about giving you the correct manifestation formula, the order in which you need to do it, and I'm also going to give you an even greater gift at the end where I give you my full manifestation system that if you use in conjunction, in combination with this simple formula, but in order, in the correct order, in the exact way you need to do it, you're gonna start manifesting bigger and bigger over time. When it comes to manifestation, it is not about all these new ideas and this sounds cool and this philosophy sounds right. It's what is actually going to produce results for you, and that's what I'm going to give you. You have to know clearly what it is that your dream is. And what I mean by this, because there's a lot of people that say, hey, you want your dream life, you want this, you want that, you need to have a dream, etc., etc. But ultimately, what you need to do is actually write out what is your dream scenario, your dream life, and it has to be something that you have no idea how to accomplish. And this is where a lot of people make a mistake. They don't do this part, and so they think it's something that they can do, or they think it's something small, or they think it's something that someone else wants them to do, or that would be a cool dream. You need to tune in and actually write out in a journal where you can see it every single day with passion, with heart, what it is you actually want. And you have to get this right, because if it's not something you actually want deep inside of you, in your heart, this isn't going to work, because it's the excitement of this dream that is going to help us moving forward as we complete the rest of this puzzle. And you can simply prompt yourself by asking, what is it I truly want? And here's another thing, do not feel guilty or shame for whatever it is that you want. What is your dream? Is your dream to have your own business and be able to travel the world, and that just fills you up with so much excitement? Is your dream to have a significant partner that's growth-oriented, growth-centric, and you two love each other and complement each other, and to start a beautiful family with them? Is your dream to be able to be in the best shape of your life, to be in the 1% of the 1% of people who are healthy, to maybe even compete in certain athletic events or whatever else it is? It doesn't matter what the dream is, so long as you identify what it is, you write it down, and you genuinely feel excitement when you think about it and when you look at it written down. Now again, I want to reiterate the point really quick before we move on to the next part, that this has to be something that you have no clue how to achieve. Don't worry about that. In the next few puzzle pieces, we'll be getting more clear on that for sure. But it needs to be be something you have no clue how to achieve. It's something that you're going to work with the universe, with God, with source, whatever you want to call it, in order to manifest. But it has to be something big. It has to be something exciting. Go into the dream world and really conjure up, what is it that I actually want? What is the ideal scene? What is like the scene? Like, think of it like a movie scene that you want to see yourself in many, many years from now. And you're going to write that out in as much detail from the heart as you can. The first piece of the puzzle I gave you was having a dream. That this is so crucial, and it's crucial for a reason. It is that dream that is going to help determine the next couple of pieces. If we don't have that dream in place, we have no idea where we're going, we have no direction, we have nothing we're excited about, and we're just kind of aimlessly moving around in life, not knowing where we want to go, thinking that something or someone's going to come in and give us direction. And here is the answer to that. There's no one coming to give you direction, or at least not in the way you want to go. There are plenty of people that will try and hook you to helping them in their agenda, but I'm assuming that's not what you want. One way to think about it, and I heard this from Earl Nightingale, who came up with the greatest secret or the strangest secret in the world. He said, it's kind of like when you don't have a dream, you don't have a direction. It's kind of like having a ship without a crew or captain and just pushing it out to sea. Now, is that ship going to get to where they want it to go? Absolutely not. It'll probably just end up finding a storm or a deserted island, and it will never get to where you want it to go. But when you put a crew and a captain on it and you set out to go to a specific destination, your chances of getting to that destination go up markedly. In fact, you're pretty much guaranteed you're going to get to that destination. And so that's what we're doing in the last video and also in this. Because in this video, we're going to be going over what's called a definite chief aim. Now, this definite chief aim should be something that you know is going to move you closer to your dream, but this is where we introduce some more practicality, so you're actually doing things here down on earth that move you closer to the dream, and you're not always in the dream land. Now, what's going to happen is when you're in the dreamland, it's going to start giving you ideas on what the definite chief aim should be. And I'm going to go over exactly how you can fashion this definite chief aim so that it's right and it actually moves you closer to your dream and you actually start manifesting. Now, just to give you some context, the person who coined this term, a DCA, was Napoleon Hill, who said this technique, when he used it, and he used it consistently, it scared him how quickly it began to work. And that's how powerful this can be. Now, a DCA means a definite chief aim. It doesn't mean you have 3 DCAs, it doesn't mean you have 10. And a lot of people, even if they do have their dream figured out, this is the next mistake they make because they don't have this puzzle piece. They try and do 10 different things at once. I want this, I want that, I'm going to aim for this. And that's like a ship trying to end up in 4 or 5 different destinations with one ship. Guess what? Not going to happen. Now, you could go to one and then the next and then the next. A DCA, after you accomplish one, you just create another, whatever the best next DCA would be to achieve your dream or get closer to your dream. But you have to have one DCA at a time. Now, why is it you want one DCA? Because when you focus your energy, which is massive when it comes to manifesting, on a singular aim, it's like a laser beam. When you focus your energy on multiple different things, it's like a light bulb. So yes, the light bulb illuminates the room, but it doesn't give it enough power to the thing you actually want. A laser beam isn't going to illuminate the whole room. Some things will be dark. You won't be able to see everything. But why do you care? If those things aren't that interesting to you, if those things you're not even really are the things you want. But if you focus on a laser beam on the thing that you actually want, on the thing that moves you closer to your dream, you're going to get it that much more quickly. In fact, I'll give you another analogy. Let's say you have a watering can, and every single day you only have enough water to water one seed, to nurture one seed. Well, if you plant 20 seeds and you try and water all of those plants with enough water to water one, what's going to happen? Nothing's going to grow, or maybe you'll get little manifestations here and there that aren't that significant, don't change your life, and that's why that happens. The focus is spread thin. But if you give that water every day to a single seed, to a single one you're trying to grow, eventually and very quickly, it will grow and start to bear the fruit that you want. And so what you're going to do in this video, for this video, the exercise is look at your dream and then ask yourself, what is something that if I were to achieve in the next 6 to 12 months would move me closer to my dream. That is your definite chief aim. Now, here is a key thing you need to keep in mind. You always choose something you know that you can achieve. Again, the dream is the la-la land stuff. This is the thing that you have no clue how you're going to get there, even though we're kind of mapping it out here. You have no idea how that's going to come in. But your DCA needs to be something that you know you can do. Why is this? I know you've probably heard, oh, when you have a goal, it needs to be something you have no idea how to accomplish, because if you shoot for the stars, you'll land on the moon. If you fall short, it's fine. And that's not good advice, and I'll tell you why. The only time that's good advice is if your confidence and belief is sky high, and for most of you, 99.9% of people, it's not. When you have a big DCA that you're not sure you can hit, you're going to introduce doubt into the process. And I will tell you, the number one killer of manifestations is doubt. And so you choose a DCA you know that you can hit in 6 to 12 months, but is also exciting. And that's the magic. So choose something your head can buy into that won't throw any doubt in there, because that will kill it dead. But also in your heart's exciting, like, hey, actually, yeah, that would be really cool. That's exciting because that moves me closer to my dream. Yeah, if I sat here with this amount, let's say it's a financial amount, that would be really good. That would be very exciting. I could do this, I could do X, Y, and Z. If I built my business to that level, that X, Y, and Z, whatever else it is, right? And so it has to be something that you're excited about. It has to be a single thing. It has to be able to be accomplished in 6 to 12 months, and even better if you can achieve it before that time. Because guess what happens when you achieve it before that time, or when you achieve this DCA? You just make another one. And guess what happens when you have a win under your belt? Your believability and confidence increases, which means then your next DCA will be even larger. And then your confidence when you hit that one will increase, and so on and so forth. And when you have a bunch of wins under your belt, when you have a bunch of manifestations under your belt because you just focused long enough, your confidence is going to go sky high, and your doubt is going to go, to rock bottom. And that's what we want to do. We want to build a string of wins, momentum here, that is going to allow you to continually manifest bigger and bigger and bigger. But if you try and go and I'm going to achieve this dream, I have no clue, and that's just what I'm going to focus on. I'm not going to focus on a DCA or these other parts of the puzzle. You're just going to wake up a week later and start getting anxious. You're going to wake up and go, oh, God, why isn't my dream moving forward? You're going to wake up and throw in doubt. You're going to wake up and wonder how it's going to happen. And when you wonder how it's going to happen, guess what that really is? That's doubt. Because you don't trust the universe. You don't trust source. You don't trust these unseen forces to do its job, because you're asking how, which means you have doubt. The how is none of your business. So create a DCA that is both exciting, but you know you can do. As long as you do everything right, as long as you're consistent, you know you can do. And remember, we're doing this because it will focus it like a laser beam. But when you have some wins under your belt, when you have momentum, when you do this, the universe starts helping you to accomplish these things. Magic is going to happen. This is another crucial puzzle piece in the manifestation foundations that will allow you to manifest big in your life. We're not talking small, tiny little things. When you have all of these pieces together, you're going to be manifesting in a way that changes your life and transforms you. And now we're going over what's called an objective. We're breaking this down even more. And this is very simple. The dream is created, and that's something you have no idea how to accomplish. And then the DCA is something you know that you can, to build up your habits, to build up your wins, to build up your momentum that is going to move you closer to your dream. However, 6 to 12 months is something that is kind of far away. And so we want to focus even more closer to today. And so we're going to be going over basically how you can have an objective that helps you move closer to your DCA. So in the same way with your DCA, your objective should be something you absolutely know you can hit, so long as you do everything consistently. Again, if you go out and you just stop doing all of this, you're not going to hit it. But it's something you know if you show up every day and you take the right action steps, you're absolutely going to hit this objective. And so your objective is something that's going to move you much closer to your DCA. And it's something that you know you can hit within 1 to 3 months. Again, the idea here is we want to choose something that's exciting, but also your mind can buy into. If there's any doubt at all, you should not select that thing. It has to be something you're confident, as long as I show up every day and take the actions, I'll absolutely hit this objective. But it's also something exciting to where you're like, that's exciting because it gets me closer to my DCA, which gets me closer to my dream, etc., etc. So those two things in place. Basically the heart and mind buying in, which is having the excitement, but also having the believability. Because, and again, nothing will kill manifestations and growth and progress like doubt. There's no getting around it. If you have a bunch of doubt towards something, it's not about trying to remove doubt from that thing. You remove doubt by having some wins. So go and make it a little smaller, still make it exciting, but something you know that you can accomplish in 1 to 3 months. And again, ideally, and what's going to happen is you do take the daily action steps, you may find that you accomplish this before 1 to 3 months, which is going to raise your confidence even more. And then you create a new objective. So ultimately, create this objective to be something that moves you much closer to your DCA is a big step towards your DCA being accomplished. When you accomplish this objective, it's simple. You make another objective. You look at everything again, you look at your dream and your DCA and go, what's the best next objective? And your confidence is going to be improved by that point as well, so you might even be able to go bigger, but it's always making sure that believability is there. And now the second part of this is you have to ask yourself the question, what do I need to do tomorrow that's going to move me closer to achieving my objective? And so every single day, you're going to have action steps, and these action steps move you closer to your objective. You can ask yourself a very powerful question. I always ask this to myself every single day, and it's, what is the best next thing I can do that moves me closer to my objective? And you see, what's going to happen when you have all of these puzzle pieces in place is the universe is actually going to look at you, is going to see what you're doing and go, wow, Carla is actually serious about this. Mike is actually serious about this now. They are starting the manifestation process by writing these things down. You should be writing this in your journal. They're looking at it every single day. They're sending out that signal. Let's start giving them some instructions. Let's start giving them some guidance. And you're going to start noticing that you just seem to know what the action steps should be. Something pops in your head and like, oh, okay, that's an action step. That sounds something like something I can do towards this. Oh, and then this, and then this. And then you're going to prioritize these action steps. What is an A priority and what is a B? And you can go C, D, and all that, but just keep it simple, A and B, meaning what are the things that I should definitely do today? And what are the things that if I have time, I'll get to? Right? Every single night or every single morning, although starting at night is usually better because you might forget by morning. At night, it just kind of works better if you have it set up for the next day. You're going to write out, what are the action steps I need to take tomorrow in order to move closer to my objective? And then all you need to do when you wake up the next day is make sure you prioritize these action steps and then you actually follow through with them. Now, action steps can be super simple, like literally, what is the next action? Let's say, for example, with a YouTube channel like this, and I want to have a certain number of subscribers, or I want to have, whatever else, a certain number of videos. I would go, okay, action step is to come up with the idea for this video, come up with the ideas for these week's videos, right? And then it could be, okay, write out the scripts for each videos, or the outline for each video, right? And I would do it maybe video at a time, right? Write out the script for this video, that's an action step. And then it would be, okay, I want to film the video, right? So it's each action step, and then you just kind of knock them off the list. And then one by one, you start building this, which leads you closer to your objective. And you're going to start noticing a certain level of momentum that starts to build. And the reason this is so powerful is because you now have a clear focus on everything. You have the dream that is really utilizing the non-physical, really allowing the universe to see what the blueprint is. That helps you form the DCA because you know where you're going. So what DCA helps you get closer to that? Then you have an objective that helps you closer to your DCA, and then you have the action steps that help you complete the objective, which helps you closer to your DCA, and when the DCA is complete, it's closer to your dream. This focuses you like a laser beam. You now suddenly know exactly what to do in order to get closer to that dream, and to the point where that dream will manifest. And guess what? Each objective you complete is a manifestation, and you'll see what happens. There's going to be byproducts of you completing your objective. More than what your objective is will start to come in. Same with the DCA, but you have to trust this process. Now, there is one final piece you're going to need. And this is essentially pouring gasoline on the fire. When you understand this, things come flying in. This is the part of the process that once you have this foundation in place that we've just gone over, once you do this next thing, this is when the results become scary fast. This is when things start coming in, flying in ways you can't even see. steps. And now this next part is another non-physical thing that you need to do in order to allow this to work powerfully. Because now you know where you're going, which is really powerful. That is you using your mind in order to move the steering wheel in the car of manifestation. So imagine that manifestation is like a car. You're in this car, and the first few videos we did got you excited, so that kind of like started the engine a little bit. You now pointed the steering wheel in a certain direction like a laser, really focusing. So you're moving in the right direction. You know your dream is down this road out of the infinite amount of roads you could visit. Right? You know it's down there. The only problem is, even though we started the engine, we have not pressed the gas pedal in order to start moving in that direction. Essentially, the main power behind the engine is going to come from what we are talking about today. And ultimately, if you have no power behind the engine, the car can be pointing in the right direction all you want, but you're never going to get closer to your dreams. Now, we need to know what direction to go, because let's say you activate the engine, and some of you may have actually been doing this, but you have no direction. Well, you're just going to not only not move in the direction of your dreams and what you actually want, you might even move in the opposite direction. You might move somewhere completely different, and then find yourself essentially having climbed the wrong mountain, only to look from the top of that mountain at the mountain you really wanted to climb. Now you got to go all the way back down. Now you got to drive back. Right? And so here is the key. The key, after having all of that foundation in place, is you need to feel good most of the time. Now, what does that mean? It means that if you are negative a lot of the time, if you are in lower levels of energy, if you're in things like grief and shame and guilt and fear and anger and pride and things of these nature, in apathy, in just whatever, this kind of emotion, what you're doing is really making yourself more dense, more particle than wave, as some people would say. And this releases or reduces power. This causes your engine to shut off. And so even though you know where you want to go, you have no power behind it, which is going to send out the signal for that to come back. Essentially, the more power you have, the more you move in that direction. The more power you have, the more magnetic you become for these things to also start meeting you kind of as you're driving towards them. They don't become this static thing that just stands still. Remember, what you want also wants you. But by wanting it, you also have to feel good. You have to feel good now. Because if you treat your manifestation as something like this, that I will feel good when I have something, you won't get it. And if you do, you'll be miserable. You have to feel good now. You have to be at that point where you're like, you know what? I want this to come in, but it's totally okay if it doesn't. It'll be this or something better. And if you don't have that attitude about it, you become like this needy person that has to have this come in or else, my life is ruined. It won't. Again, think of it from a romantic perspective. Have you ever had someone who's been like that? I really want you, I need you. Has that been attractive or repellent? Well, for most people who are in a good place mentally or a good place emotionally, that's usually very repellent. And it's the same for your manifestations. Imagine your manifestations are someone who absolutely is into you, but then if you become needy, they kind of start moving away. And so you need to do what's called lowering the importance. But when you feel good now, you start lowering this importance. Every single day, you should be reading out your dream with passion and excitement and really feeling the emotions as if it's already here. Read out your DCA with the same emotion and read out your objective, and make sure you know what you have to do today on your action steps. But you need to feel it. If you feel it and it feels like something that isn't here and therefore I'm going to beat myself up over it, you push it away, because it's not going to be something that comes in and fixes your life. It's something that comes in as a byproduct of feeling good. Now you started the engine and away you go. What I recommend you do is you write out a list of all the things you know allow you to feel good. And when I say feel good, I mean emotions like gratitude and joy, happiness and calm, things of that nature. What allows you to be calm? That's a great emotion, peace and calm. What allows you to feel excitement? What allows you to feel happiness? For example, do you have a pet that whenever you play with them, you're just giddy and you just love it, you're just all into it? That's an amazing thing to put on that list. Is it when you sing in the shower, you just feel so uplifted and you just feel so in the moment? That's something to have on the list. When you're out in nature, do you just feel so calm, like you just have no troubles, no worries? That's a great thing to have on the list. And then the trick is outside of your action steps, You want to be feeling good as much as you can. Now here's why. Because ultimately you are transmitting out however you're feeling. And for most people, they have what we can consider a negative ball of energy in their life because they're used to thinking negatively. You're feeding this ball, and for a lot of people, you have a really big ball. And that might sound, kind of disconcerting. But don't worry, we can fix this. Now, the bigger the ball, the more magnetic the ball. Think of like a planet. The bigger the planet, the more it kind of draws into its gravitational pull. Well, think of your energy ball as the same kind of thing. It's like this massive energy that is pulling based on how much power it has. This is why we focus on, like a laser beam, on the kind of key foundations I've given you, because we're going to switch this. Because if you start feeling good now, not only do you ignore this negative ball, which means you cut off the energy, you've cut off the engine for the negativity that was growing in your life. Once you do that and focus on feeling good now, you start building this new positive energetic ball in your life. The bigger that ball becomes, the more magnetic it becomes, which brings more positive thoughts into your life, which brings more positive things into your life, and that gets bigger and bigger, and it starts to attract even more of that. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger as a result and starts to attract more and more of that. And the negative ball starts to decrease because you're not looking at it as much, you're not being negative. And there's a magical thing that happens when the positive energy ball becomes larger than the negative energy ball. You start habitually becoming positive. You start being able to feel good now almost without reason. And once you hit that state and you do the rest of what we've gone over, your dreams are going to start coming in. They're going to start flying in because you now have this massive engine of positive energy that is propelling you towards your dream, your DCA, towards your objective. This is when your believability goes so far up that your objectives at that time, when you're at this point, will be so much bigger than the objectives you started out with when you started this whole process, because your believability has gone so far up. But those new big objectives you have at that time will be things you're like, oh yeah, of course I can accomplish that in 1 to 3 months, or my DCA in 6 to 12 months, because you've built so much more momentum. You've built that positive energy that's become so magnetic that brings bigger things in even more quickly. And so this is why we need to feel great now. And if you skip this step, again, it's like you've pointed the steering wheel towards your dreams and your DCA and your objectives, but you never turned the engine on, or you turned it on, but you're never pressing down on the gas because you can't. Or something's cutting off the gas and it won't move forward. This is how you move forward. This is the energy behind the vehicle. You have the vehicle. I've given you the puzzle pieces that are the vehicle. And now we need the power. Now we need the energy. And that comes through feeling great now, no matter what. Now I'm going to give you a little tip that was given to me by one of my mentors on how to make this work. You do want to try and feel great now, no matter what. However, and this might sound like a contradiction, but I'll explain. You do not try and feel great now all the time. But no matter what all the time. Yes, your aim is no matter what, but that's unrealistic. That's like saying, I'm going to go to the gym 7 days a week, and if I miss one day, I'm going to feel guilty and fall off. The goal with Feel Great Now isn't that you're in it all the time. You aim to be in it as much as you can. Whenever you remember, you go, oh, I'm not feeling so great. The most important thing now is to go feel great now. What the most important thing is recovery. When you fall off the horse to feel great now, how quickly can you get back on? What is the refresh time between you falling off and getting back on? Now, as you start this in the beginning, it'll be longer and longer times off the horse, but it will become shorter and shorter the more you practice this. And each day, if you can just get back on the horse when you fall off quicker and quicker and quicker, that energy ball starts to become bigger and bigger and bigger. That negative energy ball gets smaller and smaller because you're spending less time in that negative space, in that victim state, in that place of whatever you were in before. That positive ball gets bigger. You start remembering to get back on the horse more often. You start feeling great more often. And that's when things really start to roll. So when it comes to Feel Great Now, when it comes to this crucial final puzzle piece, don't worry if you fall off the horse. That is not a call to beat yourself and be, oh, I suck at this, I'll never get this, whatever it is. It is just a call to be like, okay, I got hooked there, I got caught, maybe a negative pattern that I'm working on and removing, just got me, it's fine. But now I can make the choice to get back up on the horse. And that's what you do. And if you keep doing that, again, you are giving power to the engine that is already pointing at your dreams if you do all the other stuff we mentioned with the pieces of the puzzle. And honestly, it's not that much to do, but it's consistently doing it to keep going. You do that, you have that steering wheel pointed, and away you go. Oh, you fell off the horse, you stopped, but you're still further along? What's happened? My engine's not going. I'm off the horse. Boop, back on the horse, right? Feel great now. So now that you have this formula, I would really invite you to start using it and doing some of the exercises that I gave you. But if you also want the full manifestation system where we dive even deeper into some more of the nuances when it comes to this to give you an even bigger overview of how to manifest powerfully, I'd go check out this video over here. I'm going to repeat some of the things I went over in this video, but I'm also going to give you a lot more new information and new things to think about that are just going to allow you to manifest so much more in your life. So check that out next.